Tuesday night. Let's draft. Let's stream. Let's chat with old buddy Ben Gretch. He's here. Tara Roberts is here. It's Tara time. Gretch, what's your Twitter handle? Put your at yards per Gretch. Doesn't even rhyme. Put your Twitter handle in your display over there. What's up, Ben?
All right, I'll get to work on that. Not much up over here. I'm super excited to be back with you guys. Thanks for having me on for sure.
And welcome to everybody on this Tuesday evening. We got the draft going on right now. It's a half PPR draft. We're going to show you the draft board. I think we're ready to show you the draft board right now. Here we go, right? Yeah, there it is. Ben Gretch. Oh, you're the first pick. You took Christian McCaffrey. Let me introduce everybody else. Dave's here. Dave, is it cold in your and windy and rainy in your house?
Yes.
JV, what's up?
How are you doing?
Good. I'm on the clock. Tara, how we doing, Tara? Good to see you again.
Fantastic.
This is half PPR, right?
Yes.
Okay, half PPR. Let's get a running back. Let's get Mr. Mixon here. Would have taken Cup and full PPR. But we'll go with Joe Mixon. Heath is up. He's sixth. All right. If you have any questions, please send them our way. And the most important thing is we're raising money tonight. You can see our meter. We're at $2,000. Let's get up to $2,200 tonight. Can we raise $200 tonight? I think we can do that. Also, please hit. I'm gonna hit like right now. Got 18 likes, so let's up that. We got 129 people watching at the moment. We should have at least 120 likes. Let's go. I know you like Ben Gretch. I know you like Tara Roberts, so hit like at least for them. Cooper Kupp is the sixth pick in the draft to Heath Cummings. All right, Tara, how do you expect things to change in a half PPR draft? I mean, you've got the 12th pick, so for you, what would be different, if anything, in this format compared to a full PPR draft?
For me, it's a little tough because I think when you're drafting here in the out of the 11th and 12th spot, unfortunately, with a half PPR draft, you're more likely to not have some of those solid running backs that you see at the back half of the first round fall to you. So you might have to go either tight end, maybe a Travis Kelce, or a wide receiver up here. But yeah, with half PPR, we're going to see a little bit more focus on the running backs and those guys that are going to have a bit more touchdown upside. But it is a 3 wide receiver draft as well. So I think it'll be interesting to see the focus that we have there from a wide receiver perspective.
Okay, Dave, you're about to be up here, so I'll go to Jamie for this. You took Austin Eckler with the third pick. Do you drop in the first round? Do you drop Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson any farther in half PPR compared to full PPR? In other words, do you take any more running backs ahead of them?
No, I approach it same like it's a PPR league for those guys. At the latest, they should be 4 and 5.
And Dave, you just took Jamar Chase. So who you could have taken? Alvin Kamara. I'm sure you're hoping to get him in round 2. Sorry, Tara. Don't listen to what I'm saying. But why'd you take Jamar Chase there, Dave?
Because I was dared before this stream to go 0 RB. That's why. And so I am. I don't intend to draft a running back for at least my first 6 picks.
Wow.
I went with Jamar Chase first. I would have normally taken Alvin Kamara in that circumstance. I really like Kamara, but I'm giving the 0 RB thing a try. We're running out of mock drafts. Pretty soon, every draft we do is going to be for real. So I got to see how I feel about it. Got to see how I like this 0 RB thing that I've heard so much about over the last few weeks.
All right, Tara, talk it out here. Alvin Kamara and Stephon Diggs at the turn. What was it going through your mind?
I was thinking wide receiver there, either going with Davante Adams or Stephon Diggs. I wanted to go with Stephon and get a little bit more solid of an option there, with considering that I was also doubling him up with Alvin Kamara, who is mildly kind of safe right now. We still don't know if at some point the video will come out and he'll end up getting suspended mid-season. We've got the trial that'll be mid-season as well. But as we're getting closer to the draft, I'm feeling a little bit more confident about getting that kind of discount value on Alvin Kamara. So I'm feeling more comfortable taking him at the back half of the first, early second.
Okay, I got a question here. And I won't, even though I took it, I'm not going to hog the spotlight here. I'll let you guys talk about it. Somebody said, I'd like to hear why people take Joe Mixon over all these people. And I took him 5th overall. Ben, do you think I took Joe Mixon too soon? I got to say, I don't know anything about Ben Gretch and fantasy football this year. I know he likes Ty Montgomery. He tweeted about Ty Montgomery for like 4 straight weeks. But did I take Joe Mixon too soon?
Joe Mixon is my 13th ranked running back. What a great question. What a great question. In half PPR, I don't think it's that bad. But the concern about the passing role. And he's an older back for sure. You have obviously the great offense, but he's never really shown elite efficiency to produce at like those legendary running back seasons. He's never really shown the ability to get there, which makes him a tough, it's all opportunity costs in these first couple rounds. There's a lot of good options. Tough bet from that perspective. I also, so his only 300-yard games last year was 3 games where he rushed between 28 and 30 times. He never had more than 20 carries in any other game. I think they're going to be a little bit more pass heavy this year. If you look from like week 5 on, when Burrow got healthy, you can go through the playoffs. You still have a 17-game sample. They were a faster-paced, pass-heavier team. They were very run-heavy over the first few weeks of the season last year. I just don't think we're going to see these 28, 30 carry games from Mixon. He had 3 of them last year. I don't think we'll see 3 this year. I think he's like a 15 to 20 carry back a lot of the times. And the strength of this team is in their passing game and those 2 wide receivers, Chase and Higgins.
I think he's going to be a big part of the passing game, not to the extent of, Kamara, Fournette, Aaron Jones, but he had 35 targets, 31 catches in his last 6 games. That was, through the postseason, their Super Bowl run. They went 5-1. That's an 89 catch pace. I'm not going to predict that, but he even said he was working in the 2-minute drill in the playoffs, but not on that last drive of their season. So I'm optimistic for more catches there, but all right. Interesting take. Ben, I don't know.
Who are the 12 you have ahead of him?
I'll tell you in just a second. I'm on the clock, and
he's on the clock here. Knowing Ben Gretsch, he's going to take 2 receivers here, and I think we're going to see a lot. We're going to see guys
DJ
like
Moore,
Josh Jacobs, Antonio Gibson.
Definitely taking AJ Brown. You guys knew that was coming.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding about the RB.
I was talking. Did Javonte Williams go? Oh, he went right before me. Look at that. All right, guess I'm taking T. Higgins and backing up that Bengals passing game take.
Now, before you do that, you should know Heath Cummings texted me. He wanted me to tell you that I have to tell you where he has DJ Moore ranked. He has him, I think, as wide receiver 6 or 7.
Ooh, that's even
higher than that.
I love it.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's 6.
I love it. I got him wide receiver 11, but I mean, very soon after the 2 that I just took, who are my 8 and 9. The 12 running backs you asked about, Jamie: McCaffrey, Taylor, Eckler, Barkley. This is PPR. Eckler, Barkley, Swift, Cook, Henry, Javonte Williams, Najee Harris, Fournette, Kamara, Aaron Jones, Mixon. So not like a bunch of crazy surprises or anything. I just kind of have Mixon as the last of sort of the top 13, if you will.
Okay. Barkley pretty high up there for you. All right, Josh Allen is the pick. Tara, you're not up for a while here as we look at this draft unfold. Anything stand out to you in round 2 or the beginning of round 3?
No, nothing really. I think the Javonte Williams position is kind of interesting. I've seen a lot of variation from him in terms of where he's going, if he's going in that second, how comfortable people are feeling with the split there. I like that combination of Jonathan Taylor and Javonte Williams of taking a little bit of a risk there with Javonte and pairing him up with Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, this pisses me off. How does Nick Chubb make it to the middle of the 3rd round? And I already have 2 stinking running back. You know how much I wish I had Cooper Kupp in the 1st round now? All right, DJ Moore. I'm going to take Heath's wide receiver 1. All right, I'm surprised that Nick Chubb lasted that long. Somebody needs to take him soon. What do we think about Dave? What do we think about Josh Allen? Pick 3.2, Kyle Pitts 3.4, and there goes Nick Chubb.
There's no special scoring for quarterbacks or tight ends in this league, right?
Correct.
Too soon. Certainly more so for Allen than for Kyle Pitts. I know that's going to be different when everybody at home does their drafts. There's going to be a schlub in every league that takes Josh Allen. In round 2, if not round 1, they're going to say, well, quarterbacks score a lot of points. All right, whatever, dude. You're wrong. It's a bad take unless you're starting 2 quarterbacks, in which case he should be the 101. That's not what's going to happen, though, in most 1-quarterback leagues. And Pitts, I know he had that great catch. Maybe people are excited because he caught a deep pass. He's probably caught about 100 deep passes in practice already. I still am a little worried about the overall offense in Atlanta and him being, 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns, something like that. I felt like that was a little too soon. Not like a full round too soon, but a little too soon. I think Josh Allen was a good full round minimum too soon.
All right. Let's see. So Jamie, you took Tyreek Hill. Oh, okay. So it seems like you're taking players that you don't typically take. I'm surprised you don't have Michael Pittman on your team. You went with Deebo Samuel round 2.
And Michael Pittman on every team. I wanted to do something. A little
Yeah.
different.
All right, that's what I was thinking here. Dave, Chase, Devontae, Sutton. How you feeling about that?
I think my wide receivers are going to be awesome. Got 3 high volume guys, a super playmaker in Chase. I think Davante Adams is going to get a lot of targets after all and be huge for the Raiders. And I think Sutton's going to be the number 1 in Denver.
So how does your 0 RB team, what do you do next? Do you still take wide receivers?
You win, Adam. That's what you do.
No,
next.
no,
I'm already counting my money for this mock league
You
that
win.
we're doing. All the mock dollars that I'm going to take from Tara and Ben and you and Jamie. No, the one thing that I've been kind of saying all August is there are some interesting names at running back once you get to the middle rounds. And I know that there's the dead zone, and I'm probably going to have to take a couple of choices from there. But there's a case to be made for the Rashad Pennies and Cordell Pattersons. Damian Pierce no longer qualifies. He's going to go before I can get him. But there's going to be a lot of running backs that you can look at and say, okay, I could start the year with this guy in my lineup, and maybe longer than just the first month of the season.
I know.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking with the build.
But you've committed to this. But what are your next picks? You already have all your starting wide. You could take your flex. Are you gonna take a quarterback? I don't think you want to take Waller or Kittle. All right, so you go 4 wide receivers. Let me get to Tara's team here. Tara, you got 3 receivers and a running back. Chris Godwin at 37 overall. How are you feeling about your squad? And what are you thinking for your next few picks?
It's good. Ideally, if James Conner was there, I would have liked to go that direction and maybe go ahead and knock my RB2 out of the way. But I like it. In terms of receivers, I mean, I feel like, especially when you have to go 3 deep with a starting lineup, I like to get 3 guys that I feel like I can have the upside for them to all potentially finish within the top 12. And, barring the injury and Chris Godwin, obviously maybe getting off to a little bit of a slower start, he'll ramp up and average out to that, in my opinion, once he gets back into full health. So looking at those 3, the upside of Brandon Cooks there, that connection that he had with Davis Mills at the end of last season, high points per game. I really like those 3 receivers. So I think I've got a solid start, and then I can dive in a little bit later and kind of find those upside later mid-round running backs.
All right, I'm showing everybody the draft board here so you can see the best available players. These are Heath's rankings. I'll go back to the draft board. I'm sorry. I'm showing you the draft room right now. These are Heath's rankings. If you want to just see the top running backs, Montgomery, Hall, Zeke, Akers, Clyde, good running back value in this draft. Wow, really. And even though half PPR, I thought maybe they'd go a little bit earlier, but it hasn't really changed much, which is, I guess, not a huge surprise. We've played this game before. Here are the best wide receivers: Deontay, McLaurin, Mooney, Thielen, Marquise Brown, Metcalf, Judy. And tight ends, just about everyone. We've only had 3 taken. We've only had, I think, 1 quarterback taken. So that's the draft board there, or the draft room. Sorry. Let's go back to the draft board and catch you up on some of the picks in round 4. Godwin, Thomas, J.K. Dobbins. Jamie, you like that spot for J.K. Dobbins? And what do you think about Rob's build here? No wide receivers, 0 WR. 3 Kelsey. What do you think about that team and that pick of Dobbins?
I would have taken a receiver there. It's fine to go Kelsey, Swift, and Connor. Can't fight that one. But to take Dobbins there when there's several receivers on the board that I would have taken ahead of him, I think he's messed up that spot.
Okay. All right. So that brings me to me. And I have 2 running backs and a receiver. My favorite player is Zeke at this point. I don't love the wide receiver value, but I got to start 3 of them. All right. We'll take a gamble here. I'm going to take Zeke, get my flex. All right. And we're on to Chafee T, who has Henry, Keenan Allen, and Kyle Pitts. Man, that was really quite a run of wide receiver. I did not think that mid to late round 4 would be this barren. You look at all those guys that we kind of like better than the ADP. Pittman, Godwin, Sutton, Mike Williams, Thomas, Allen Robinson. You'd expect some of them, I think, in a lot of drafts based on ADP. Some of them will be available to you in round 4, maybe even round 5. Gretch, who do you like this year, man? Like, what are you feeling in fantasy football?
I mean, I like a lot of things. I'm feeling a lot of things. How do you want to narrow that down?
Well, let's talk about your 2 picks here. Talk about your 2 picks.
Well, my first pick is I don't know, maybe going to surprise some people. I'm going to take Gabe Davis. Oh, my second pick was not intentional.
Oh, sorry.
What happened there?
I don't know.
That was weird.
I definitely do not know.
I just clicked on Gabe Davis was the only guy on my queue, clicked on his name, and then I had Lamar Jackson on my team. But yeah, Gabriel Davis looks good in the preseason. Scored a touchdown in the second game. Looks like he's going to get that huge routes bump that we've been hoping for. I was going to take Etienne or Hall and get another running back at this pick. They both go. I'm kind of we're starting to get into my patented running back dead zone here, and I'm not a big fan of Cam Akers coming back from that Achilles. I'm either going to go Waller. I'm going to have a little more fun. I'm going to take another receiver that I like, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
And just so everybody knows, the best running backs available, according to Heath, are Cam Akers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chase Edmonds, Josh Jacobs, A.J. Dillon, Damian Pierce. That's 6 names right there.
Now, just to make everybody, what you're looking at is full PPR rankings, not half PPR.
That's true. We don't have half PPR rankings in the draft room, but that is true. Yeah, that wasn't an easy. All right, Gabriel Davis and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now that's an interesting turn, Dave Richard. Let's go to Tara. Tara, what do you think about that? 4-5 right there, 48 and 49. Gabriel Davis and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I think it's a high upside turn. Again, we got the notice that Jameson Williams is, he's not going to start off the season. It's going to take him probably closer to midseason to get back in form and be able to play. Missing the preseason, I think that just raises the high value up there for Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I like the pick there. Might seem a little bit high in terms of some of these other guys that he's going ahead of, but I think it's a good upside pick right there. And then Gabe Davis, again, he's looked fantastic, and I do believe he's going to be a red zone monster. So that's a good combination right there, in my opinion.
Okay, Gabriel Davis. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're a little early on Amon-Ra St. Brown there, Gretch. Especially in
maybe. I was a little unsure, as you heard as I talked to
it. But again, though, I mean, Ben's picking on the end, and so he's probably feeling like he may not have a chance to get him back. And if he has a feeling on a guy, that's the spot to do it.
That's a guy I like a lot more in PPR. I will cop to using my PPR rankings right now and not really thinking through the half PPR element when I made that pick.
Oh, excuses.
Probably should have taken Waller or Kittle and just got tight end over with, to be honest with you.
Jamie, how do you feel about what Matt LaFleur said about A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones being 1A and 1A?
Makes me like Dillon even more. Obviously Aaron Jones is locked into his role as a pass catcher and should be fantastic carrying the ball also. But, we saw what Dillon did at the end of last season. And, I've said this a million times that, you rank the skill players on the Packers, and it's Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon at the top 2. So I think Dillon's going to be more involved in the passing game than we saw last year. He had 4 games last season with at least 4 catches, over 15 PPR points per game on average in those 4 games. So he's got a huge breakout potential coming this year. Love the fact that David Bakhtiari is back too.
All right, let's see. Look, who's the best wide receiver in this round? Round 5. St. Brown, Marquise Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Darnell Mooney, DK Metcalf, Rashad Bateman. Who's the best wide receiver? Tara.
I still don't hate DK. I think that's an excellent value for him. Being able to grab DK Metcalf in the 5th, I think it's DK right there.
Who's the best one, Dave?
It's DK if they get Garoppolo or somebody like him to play quarterback, but until they do, it's Marquise Brown. Gobs of upside in an offense that's going to throw the ball a lot more than the last one he was in. Talented as a short area target, can also work the deep ball. Guaranteed to be the wide receiver 1 for Arizona for the first 6 games of the season. Still could be useful as a starter in fantasy after that. Might still be the number 1 after that.
All right, so Jamie, who's the best wide receiver in this round?
The best wide receiver is DK Metcalf. He's in the worst situation. So I would say that Marquise Brown's in the best situation of the guys in this round.
Dave taking Dalton Schultz over George Kittle. I know you have it ranked that way. So are you allowed to take a running back with your next pick?
Yeah, I think I am.
Okay.
And that's not 0 RB.
No, come on. 5
You got to get a quarterback. Get your quarterback first.
I don't think it works that way, right? It's just a matter of how long you go. I think 5 rounds without running back is 0 RB, right?
I don't think it's specific to filling every position in your lineup.
Let's let Ben Gretsch decide. Round 6 for your first running back. Is that 0 RB?
Well, I do happen to host a podcast with a guy who coined 0 RB currently.
What would Sean say? What would Sean say?
Sean would say, especially in today's era, when he wrote the initial article, I think it was around round 6. If you took a running back, that's sort of what he was saying. But that was a different time. He wrote it in 2013. Going this far without a running back meant a lot more running backs had gone. I think he would say you'd need to go further than this before you took a running back.
Yeah, this was the name at the top of my queue anyway.
Oh my God, this is crazy.
Now he's done it. Good job.
Terrible running backs. This is a 3 receiver league too. I mean, like I bet when he wrote that article, it was for 2 receiver leagues. So I don't know. All right. Well, look, that's the second quarter. Look at the value on Herbert compared to Josh Allen. Josh Allen, second pick of round 2, and Herbert, second pick of round 6, the second quarterback.
It's Dave's best draft.
Oh. Oh man. All right. Well, look, we'll see how it plays out. Like, who do you think you're going to end up with at running back? What's ideal for you?
I think my starting running backs will be Rashad Penny and Melvin Gordon.
Okay. There's Amari Cooper.
Which with that wide receiver firepower, like he can win with that. That's not
even in half PPR?
I think so. Rashad Penny's going to get off to a fast start. You got to build a good texture to your running back room. You got to have late season upside. You got to hit on the waiver wire. I mean, you have to have some things break right, certainly. But Penny's going to get you off to a hot start with Walker hurt. What's that?
Isn't that the case no matter what build you do?
Yeah.
Like, unless you draft
exactly
perfect, you've got to put in the work on your team.
That's the way I look at it. I actually like doing 0 RB because you can focus basically just on your running back room. Continue to find points in the short term and find upside in the long term by paying attention to who the backups are. People are not always paying attention to who the handcuffs are throughout the season. They shift sometimes. That's the kind of stuff I heard about in that Stealing Signals article.
Brutal run there. Brutal run for me. All those wide receivers coming off the board. All right. Let's see where we're at here. Any questions here? Any donations? Can we get some donations? And can you hit like, for goodness sake? 92 likes right now and 685 people here. I'm setting big goals. We have raised $200 today. That's awesome. All right. Cool. Let's get greedy. Let's get to 2,400. Let's get $200 more today. All to St. Jude. Please keep hitting that donate button. Let's get 300 likes. We're at 116 likes. We got almost 700 people watching. Let's get 300 likes. Let's get to. I'm not reading. I'm taking the draft board away. Until we get to 150 likes. We're at 129. You don't get to know what's happening until we get to 150. We're at 134. Keep hitting like, everybody. You want to see the draft board? Hit like. We're at 140. All right, keep hitting like. Everybody likes draft boards. 146. Let's go. We're almost there. We'll get that draft board back. 158. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. All right, let's see what's been going on here. Elijah Moore, Lamar Jackson, Chase Edmonds, Devontae Smith. I think it'd be a good time right now. Jamie, let's take a look at some of the best players available. I'll go to your rankings. I'm sorry, you're about to make a pick. All right, well, why don't you talk us through your pick? Everybody take a look at Jamie's team here.
I mean, this is the easiest no-brainer pick in the history of the world.
We're going fast here. Can you take a second here so Shafee T can catch up? Kyler Murray, Hunter Renfrow, and then Jamie as QB 5?
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it's 6 points per pass TD over here, isn't it?
It sure is.
I probably should have taken Mahomes over Kyler. Important lesson, people.
Yeah.
Settings.
Yeah, you get the wrong rankings list today. All right, I think we should take a look at some of the best available players here. I'll just go ahead and make my pick. What do I have? I have 3 running backs and 3 wide receivers. Mixon, Jones, and Zeke, Moore, Judy, and Elijah Moore. I love it until Elijah Moore. So you know what? I think this is a good team for me and a good time for me to take DeAndre Hopkins and be really strong. I think down the stretch. Because I like my running back core, and I'm sure I'll get a good. And Dalton Schultz is off the board, so I'm not going to go with Goddard or Hawkinson here, and I'm sure I'll get a good quarterback because everybody's going to.
Why wouldn't you have taken Goddard there?
I'm not really a Goddard guy.
What?
If they throw as much as they have in the preseason, then I should be a Goddard guy. But if they're a low pass volume team and A.J. Brown's the man and Devontae Smith takes a step up. I saw what Dallas Goedert was when they had Zach Ertz last year. He was useless.
They don't have Zach Ertz this year.
But they have Devontae Smith and they have A.J. Brown. So I think those guys are going to command a lot more targets than Zach Ertz did. I understand one plays tight end, but I don't think Goddard is going to be a consistent difference maker unless they pass the ball a lot more than I expect, because he's a great player. He's a very good player. Kareem Hunt, Robert Woods. We have 7 tight ends off the board. We have 5 quarterbacks off the board. And Schneier went with Cook and Barkley and then 4 wide receivers. I did want to take a look at the best players available, so let's do that. I think it's a good time to kind of gauge who's still left.
What's Adam's worst take lately? Can someone clue me in? It's been a while since.
Yeah,
Jamie, you'd have something good in mind. What's Adam's worst take recently?
Adam's worst take recently in overall?
It's easy.
I don't remember what your worst take is.
11. I think 11:30 a.m. is the afternoon because you eat like.
It's literally afternoon.
I know, but it's the afternoon. You do afternoon
things. It's literally it.
But you do afternoon activities.
That was even better than I anticipated. Thank you.
Tara hasn't spoken in a while. Let me get Tara back in here. Tara, who are some of the best players that are still available right now in your mind?
Oh, man. This is where you kind of get to a weird spot with receivers, in my opinion. I'll go ahead and say one that I'm not going to pick. Chris Olave is someone who I really like right here. I kind of am debating whether I would go Chris Olave, already having Alvin Kamara on my team, but I think there's just a ton of upside right there. We've got the Michael Thomas hamstring injury that's happening right now. We don't know a whole lot about it, but again, we get these things that kind of seem indicative that he could be facing that kind of father time issue as he tries to come back, and it's been a couple years. So I really like the upside of Chris Olave in this going anywhere right now.
I was about to say, Dave, I cannot believe Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still available, and that's your first running back. How do you feel?
In the context of going 0 RB, I feel pretty good about it. He's not my favorite. Yeah, this is the first time I've drafted CEH, I think. Maybe I've drafted him as a flex before. I don't remember. But this I don't draft him very often. Happy to have a starting running back, even though he's on the Chiefs. That used to be a great thing. Now it's just an okay thing. I'm fine with it. And having him last till late round 7, that was a surprise. That was definitely a surprise. Not who I thought I would get there.
All right, Tara, what are you doing here with your 7th and 8th picks with Diggs, Cooks, Godwin, Kamara, Josh Jacobs, George Kittle?
Sorry, guys. I did not see I was on the clock. So again, Jamie kind of mentioned this before, but this is kind of a weird spot where I'm going to reach for someone. I'm going to reach for Ramondre Stevenson. It's early, but I do feel like he's an incredibly high upside player. I love him as an RB3, and I don't think that he would make it all the way back around to me. So again, sometimes when you're picking on the turns right here, you do have to reach a little bit. And I am going to go with Kadarius Toney. It's a little bit of a riskier pick. Yeah, it's a little bit of a riskier pick in terms of, the injury issues with him and whether or not he'll be on the field. But I think the upside is so incredibly high when you look at what he would be able to do within that Giants offense and the target share that he would be able to command. So I like taking him right there.
Clyde and Devin Singletary are Dave's running backs to go with 4 stud wide receivers, Dalton Schultz and Justin Herbert. About Kadarius Toney, Tara, the news today that the Giants are expected to take Sterling Shepard off the PUP list before week 1, which a lot of people might say, big deal. And he is coming off a torn Achilles. But when he has been on the field and not leaving games early, and Daniel Jones has been the quarterback, he has clearly been Daniel Jones' favorite receiver. We're talking about a 90-plus catch pace. He's been basically an automatic 12-ish points in PPR. Doesn't do a lot with the catches, but he gets them. What do how does that factor in at all as you evaluate Kadarius Toney, who's basically the only Giants wide receiver that people are drafting?
A little bit, but not a ton, honestly, just because I don't think we saw I don't know if we saw overlap at all between the two in terms of seeing Kadarius Toney on the field and how he would work out with with Sterling Shepard. So there's a little bit of an unknown factor right there, but I still think the upside is with Kadarius Toney. Sterling Shepard, a healthy Sterling Shepard, will command a certain target share and will get peppered there, as he always does in the slot. But I think the higher upside still remains with Kadarius Toney.
Is it Antonio Gibson time, 92nd overall? Or should it be Brian Robinson time? Or is Brian Robinson? Yeah, Brian Robinson still available. Oh, man. Oh, I hate this.
I forgot how much the chat loves running backs. So coming on with you guys, they are not a fan of my team.
I'm going to take I guess I'm going to take Antonio Gibson. I'm still taking why did I do that?
Those are always the best picks, right? Why don't you back it out? Try again.
No, let's live with it. I don't know. He was Heath's highest ranked running back, but God, I just don't think that was a good pick. I shouldn't have taken him. Sorry about that. It's really
thanks
tough.
for taking the bullet for the rest of us.
Yeah. It wasn't. I don't think it was an obvious pick unless I went with a quarterback. But Brian, there we go. Schaefer. That's kind of a screw you pick right there from our producer Thomas Schaefer. Brian Robinson, one pick after Antonio.
But didn't you just screw yourself?
Yeah, I screw you by me and screw you by to Schaefer. Just yeah. Ben, which Washington running back do you like better?
I think I would still bank on Gibson. He came in the first drive, even though he didn't start. They played him a little more in the passing game, kind of treated him like a space back. But also, I'm on the clock, so I'm not gonna.
I have a theory.
Wait, before you do that, can I just tell Ben this is a half PPR league, 6 point passing touchdown. All right, Dave, what's your theory?
This team would win this league. I want you guys to know.
I want to comment on Ben's first pick too. Just an observation that I saw a couple weeks ago. My theory is that they're trying to shop Gibson. I think they don't like him, and they're putting him in these passing situations and on kickoff returns, and they're hoping that a team maybe like Arizona comes along and offers them a pick in exchange for Gibson. Because what good is Gibson when they've got McKissick? What good is Gibson when they've got Brian Robinson? I feel like the ship has sailed on Gibson being the lead back. I think it's going to be Robinson until he screws up. And I think they really like McKissick as the passing downs guy. So where does Gibson fit in? Depth for both of those guys? Sure. That makes sense. And he's not expensive. So they don't have to, try and trade him to save salary cap space. Mm-hmm. But I think they used him. McKissick didn't play in the preseason game. But I think they're trying to showcase him a little bit and talk him up as a guy that you got to get him the ball in space. And he was an amazing kick returner in college, and he was a receiver in college. It just everything sounds like they're trying to sell Antonio Gibson.
And sorry, I'm on the clock. Sorry about that.
If you want me to keep yapping, I got something else.
Yeah, no. Ben, I was wondering, did you feel kind of screwed by the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 running backs that went in the previous 8 picks before because you obviously only had one running back to your first 7 picks, and then you had that huge run. I guess in that round, what do we have? 8 running backs in that round. Did that kind of mess up your strategy there?
I wouldn't say necessarily messed up my strategy. Again, we were talking a little bit about the 0 RB thing. I think you can build a running back room through the later rounds better than most people assume. There's a lot of variance at running back throughout the season. We know you look at like when Cam Akers went down last year, how high Darrell Henderson rose. Like that's just the first one that pops into my mind. But we also know that throughout a season, we see a lot of spot starts. We saw D'Ernest Johnson have 3 20-point games in PPR last year. I don't know about half PPR. Saw Alexander Madison have 3 20-point games. That's more than I think Zeke had 4, but like right in that same range. So basically what you're trading off with some of these late round picks, when you hit on them, when they get chances to start, you're getting the ceiling games. You're starting those guys those weeks. Everyone was picking up D'Ernest Johnson and Alexander Madison and playing him those weeks. What you're giving up is the guaranteed 15-point games that you get from some of the less high upside running backs, the Ezekiel Elliott's or David Montgomery's. But then the question is, can you make up those 15-point weeks? Can you get that type of floor? And from your RB2 slot, can you produce enough points throughout the year to sort of mimic the David Montgomery, Ezekiel Elliott scoring? I think I'm going to build out a good enough running back room here to be able to do that the rest of the way. to answer your question, round 8 did suck. Yes, I was going to take a lot of those running backs. I was going to take a lot of those guys.
Yeah, I can see that. No, those were good values for a lot of the running backs. I don't know, probably not all of them, but good values for some of them. But I know we're really not low on quarterbacks. I know we draft quarterbacks later than most websites and whatnot, most users, but this is kind of crazy. Tom Brady in the middle of round 9, Trey Lance going to Terra. I mean, we still have Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow on the board, Stafford, Cousins, Rodgers, Fields. There goes Tyler Algier to Dave. And was Cordero Patterson was taken, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you have taken first, Dave?
Patterson.
Okay. So Dave's got 4 wide receivers, then a tight end, then a quarterback, and then 4 running backs. And his team definitely looks better than if it had been 4 running backs, tight end, quarterback, and 4 wide receivers. Then it wouldn't be so good. So obviously you can get better value at this point in the draft at running back than you can at wide receiver. I mean, to me, that's obvious. If anybody disagrees, please feel free to chime in. Tara, I ask everybody who drafts Trey Lance this question: are you going to draft another quarterback? And is it going to be someone, maybe in the Cousins Carr range or something like that?
Depending on who's on the board. It's 100% depending on who's on the board. I feel pretty confident in Trey Lance. I don't feel like I necessarily have to back him up with a guy like Kirk Cousins or Derek Carr or even Aaron Rodgers. Because if worse comes to worse, if something goes completely sideways with that offense, I don't think they're going to switch over to Jimmy Garoppolo, even if they keep him around. And I think that rushing floor at least gives him a solid base to where things won't go so sideways that he will absolutely trash my season and I'll be looking to recover on the waiver wire. So I'm comfortable with sticking with just Trey Lance.
Boy, I thought Heath was going to take Russell Wilson. I was going to get very mad at him, but he took Treylon Burks. So there's Russell Wilson. Still have Burrow, Cousins, Rodgers, Fields, Carr available. And then, of course, Lawrence and Tagovailoa, Jameis Winston. I don't know if they'll even get drafted here in this 1 QB league. How many rounds are we going, Jamie?
14
rounds. Okay. All right. I'm going to check in with the chat here. We got 2.4K raised. So that's $400 roughly tonight. And that is so awesome. And thank you all very much for doing that. Please keep hitting the donate button as much as you can. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get to 2.6 tonight. 2.6 is what we're going for. Let's get another roughly $200 to raise all towards St. Jude. That's why we're here. It's more important than anything else that we're doing. And remember, 1 week from tomorrow, so 8 nights from today, 8 days, the Draftathon, 6 p.m. Eastern until midnight Eastern. First 2 hours are on CBS Sports HQ. Jamie, we got an offer of a $500 donation for a spot in the HQ League. We could set that up. Tweet Jamie or DM Jamie, OJ. But anyway, what was I going to say? HQ for 6 to 8 p.m. for the Draftathon. And then the last 4 hours are right here on YouTube, streaming live and no breaks. A lot of fun, a ton of guests. It's going to be awesome. Catching up on the picks here, we've got Pat Fryermuth and Michael Carter. It's interesting, Ben. Michael Carter, he didn't play last night. Breece Hall did. And he's going to have a role. I mean, he's kind of forgotten about. What do you think about Michael Carter? You took right before Jamal Williams, who's in the same kind of boat. He's going to have a role. Tell me about the Carter pick there.
Carter was really good last year. Strong receiving profile at UNC, played alongside Javonte Williams there. I think he's going to be sort of in a similar role to what he was doing at UNC, where he's kind of the co number one. I think Breece Hall is going to be the main guy, but I do think Carter's going to play on passing downs and also get some work on early downs and running the ball. Again, was good last year. We know the coaching staff came over from San Francisco where they like to use multiple backs. I think he has standalone value. I think he has upside in the case of a Hall injury, where he would basically have the backfield to himself. So I think he's a pretty solid pick into this range.
Tara, what do you think about Jalen Tolbert? He's going to be a starting wide receiver. And even The Athletic yesterday or whenever they came out, they wrote all their writers write something for fantasy. And I think it was The Athletic, but it said he's going to be a starter even when Michael Gallup returns. I don't know if they mean 3 receiver set, but yeah, he doesn't get quite as much buzz as some of the other rookies. Would you take him over, let's say, Sky Moore? Or, tell me what you think about Tolbert. And tell me what you think about Garrett Wilson, who also went in this round. Oh, hold on. Schaefer, we have 2 Michael Gallups there, if you want to just check that. There we go. All right, go ahead, Sarah. Tell me about Jalen Tolbert of the Cowboys.
So, yeah, I agree that Jalen Tolbert he's going to be a locked-in starter. First of all, he's going to be opposite of CeeDee Lamb in that situation that Michael Gallup is not going to start the season. And then even when James Washington does come back, we're looking at a situation where, Tolbert might be able to gain that trust of Dak Prescott and maybe compete there for that third receiver spot. So at the very least, he's going to be in the third receiver spot until James Washington comes back. The only mild problem that I have with his guarantee of a spot and why I wouldn't take him over a guy like Sky Moore or even Garrett Wilson is just we're not seeing him really compete at an extremely high level in preseason. We haven't seen anything incredibly impressive. I've seen that he's had some trouble with drops as well. So that kind of mildly concerns me with him. So I'm taking him. I'm not avoiding him. I think it's a really good upside play, but there's other guys that I think are going to end up being better long haul options like Sky Moore.
Jamie, I think we should start just picking teams at random and giving thoughts on them. Tell me about Jack Capitordo's team. How do you feel about it? Jack Capitordo took Jefferson in the first round, then Lamb, then 3 running backs. You all can see it right there. Give me a grade on Jack's team right now.
I think it's an A. I mean, you got to hope that Hall is not overshadowed by Carter and struggles with that offensive line. He took Montgomery, sorry. As long as Montgomery's healthy. Receivers are fine. Obviously, the first 2. Got great value on Hockenson, great value on Brady. I think it's a really solid team.
How do we feel about David Montgomery? Who thinks David Montgomery is very safe? Going to get the touches, just has very little bust potential. Does anybody feel that way about David Montgomery?
Me. I like David Montgomery. I don't know why people are so afraid of him, because I think the upside there is that he has the potential to catch some passes as well. It sounds like they might integrate him more from a third down perspective as well, and it's not going to be something that we kind of have to worry about coming from Khalil Herbert. So I think he's a pretty safe option. There's not a ton of high upside. You're not looking at him as someone that you could potentially get to average out to a top 5 running back, but statistically, overall points will probably finish towards the back end, maybe around 12 or so.
Okay, sorry, I was making my pick there. Let's see how we're doing. Oh, dude, look at the YouTube. Thank you very much for all your donations. We've got about $600 tonight. We still have some time left. This has been a very quick draft, by the way. I'm going to get rid of our faces pretty soon. Heath takes his first quarterback in Kirk Cousins. All right, Dave, let's take a look at Heath's team. Give me a grade on Heath's team. He went Kupp, Fournette, Pittman, Breece Hall, Mooney, Thielen, Goddard, Penny, Gordon, Burks, Dotson, Kirk Cousins. So he's the last guy to take a quarterback, last person to take a quarterback. Yeah, but how do you feel about Heath's team? And while you do that, everybody, please hit like. We can get up to 300 likes. That'd be wonderful. We're at 253. And please keep donating because we're at 2.6K. Let's see if we can get another 200 before the night's over. Go ahead, Dave.
I like his team, especially when you consider that he waited on quarterback and he got one that I think we would all agree is a good starter to begin the year in Kirk Cousins. He's got 3 top 24 wide receivers in his lineup. He's got Kupp, he's got Pittman. Those guys for me are top 12. Mooney is top 24. Thielen might be around 24th for me. I think he might be in full PPR and half PPR. It's a little bit less, but I think he's a good wide receiver as well. Can't complain about the running backs, Leonard Fournette and Breece Hall. I'm not freaking out about Breece Hall playing a lot in the second preseason game behind a second string offensive line with a third string quarterback. He was just getting some experience. I think he's going to have a lot of breakout games. And I think he'll be pretty good. Do you remember where he went? Was he a 4th round pick in this draft today, Adam?
Who, Breece Hall?
Yeah.
Yeah, middle of the 4th round.
That's fine. I think that's a fine time to take him. I do like Goddard at tight end. Everybody in Philadelphia is starting to grow on me. And the bench depth, I like it with Gordon and Penny. Those are good running backs to have on the bench. Don't love Dotson. Do love Treylon Burks. And Burks is another rookie where I think just so much is being made over oh, he's playing deep into the preseason. And I just feel like the coaches are really focused on making sure he can handle playing 4 quarters. I think the Titans know what they're doing. They deserve the benefit of the doubt. They're a winning team. They do well with their team as a whole. And I think Traylon Burks is going to be fine. He's one of my favorite players. He's got a dip in his ADP right now. I'm buying it all the time. I would have bought it in this draft if I had taken running backs earlier and not done the 0 RB gimmick.
Cowboys Choke says, I think everyone drafted a good team except for RJ and Zach. Let's see if that holds up. RJ with Najee.
It's round 13. I don't think it's going to change now.
No, I mean, let's see if that comment holds up. Let's see if we agree. Najee Harris, Mark Andrews, Elijah Mitchell, Miles Sanders, James Robinson, and Raheem Mostert are his running backs. So it's hero RB. And yeah, I think he did pretty well in that regard. Yeah. Andrews, and then Evans, Waddle, Metcalf. Yeah, I guess maybe you might not love the number 2 and number 3 guys he took. Maybe Robert Woods, Gallup, and Dak Prescott. I think it's a fine team. I don't know, Jamie. How do you feel about RJ's team? I guess I wish Waddle were someone in the Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin range, but it just didn't work out for RJ. But how do you feel about that team?
I mean, I think it's fine. You know, it feels a little nitpicky to say it's that bad. I mean, you know, his second running back may not be great, but as you mentioned, the approach he took. And so, you know, there are people that seem to be a little bit on opposite ends of where Najee should go and how early you should take Mark Andrews. So, you know, I could see that, you know, maybe Andrews went a little too soon, but I don't have a problem with this team.
All right, and let's take a look at Zach's team, picking second. Jonathan Taylor.
Make a pick. I keep having to reset it for you.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
If you want, I'll make the pick for him.
No, I got it.
You sure?
Yeah. We're just gonna stash someone here. Christian Watson. Sorry about that. Zach Brooks' team: Jonathan Taylor, Javonte Williams, Josh Allen, McLaurin, Waller, Devontae Smith, Hunter Renfrow. Well, he just likes players more than I think, you know, than we do. Certain players, but I don't know, Ben. What do you think? It's not a great team. It's not a great team. What do you think went wrong, if anything? Or maybe you like the team. What do you think went wrong with this team?
The 102 you're asking about, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't take Josh Allen that early. That's a concern for me. I like the Taylor Javonte Williams start. I think Williams. I mean, again, you don't want to get caught paying for pass production at running back. You kind of want to find the next breakouts. Javonte, for me, is a really good play. They didn't bring Melvin Gordon back right away in the offseason. There's a new coaching staff. There's no guarantee they'll be the same 50-50 split. Even Melvin Gordon himself has said they want Vontae to be the lead. I like those top 2 running backs. The Allen pick's a little tough. I think Waller's a good pick. I'm not really in on McLaurin, so wide receiver would be where I would be concerned. I like Devonta Smith as a pick, but McLaurin is one where I'm not really buying into Carson Wentz. I think he has more competition really than he's ever had with Dotson and with Curtis Samuel returning healthy. He's been good, but maybe not great, maybe not elite so far in his career. Don't really love him as a wide receiver 1. Don't really love the receiver depth. So that would be maybe the concern for me.
Everybody cool with Saquon Barkley going 13, 14, 16th overall?
Are you saying it's high or low?
No, I think it's fine. I just curious. What do you think?
I think it's all right.
I've got him in the first round.
Ooh.
I like it.
Man, he says he's better than ever. He's pissed off. He's motivated. And he's on the Giants. All right, Derek Carr to Tara. JD McKissick.
Yeah. Apparently I lied at him.
No, I know you love Derek Carr. You couldn't pass him up there.
I just liked him a lot better than what was on the board. I just kept staring there and I was like, I mean, comparatively to everyone else that was on the board right there, it just felt like a better option.
Sure. Okay, and we're finishing up here. And, you know, any other teams you want to talk about? Jamie, why don't we talk about your team? How do you feel about your team?
Very excited about it. I like the way that it came together with the 3 receivers after taking Eckler. So, you know, a couple of guys that I'm a little bit lower on in PPR, but fine in non and half in Deebo Samuel and Tyreek Hill. And then I'm a big A.J. Dillon fan. I like Chase Edmonds and what he's done. So RB2 and flex. Obviously, Mahomes is easy pick there. Damien Harris, if he has any sort of role in the passing game, what they're talking about, could end up being much better than we've been viewing these Patriots running backs. I like Nico Collins, so I really like the way this came together. Getting Cole Kmet was obviously fun as well.
I was going to take Damien Harris. Adam asked about that round 8. I was going to take Gibson too, Adam. And I was going to take Rachaad White, who you took in the 12th. You sniped me a couple times.
Happy to do it, man. It's always good to have you back. So the Patriots running back thing is just so weird. I mean, what are they? They're all going to catch passes now?
No.
They're just not going to take them off the field.
So what? They're going to do like they did in the preseason game? One guy gets a series? Yeah, I don't know. That's not going to work for fantasy, I don't think. I don't
but
think.
It might be what they're comfortable doing. And when Belichick talked about Harris and Stevenson playing on third down, he was asked about pass protection. And so he wasn't thinking about that answer in terms of how well those guys catch the ball. I think we know that Damien Harris can catch it. I don't think he's necessarily great at it. I think we all agree that Stevenson's better at it. He's working to get better at it. But I think he's trying to talk up those running backs as being pass protectors. And he wants those guys in there to help protect Mac Jones. So I still think that Ty Montgomery is the one that's going to end up leading the running backs in New England in catches. And I think he's locked into the 2-minute role for sure. I don't know if he's going to necessarily be a third down back in the traditional sense, in the James White sense. I think the Patriots are trying to get away from that, but I don't think it's going to come with the idea that Harris is now in line for 30 catches or Stevenson's in line for 40 catches. I think he wants those dudes to block.
So you mentioned Antonio Gibson as a potential trade guy.
Yep.
There was that rumor about Damien Harris as a potential trade guy. And that could be another thing that they're trying to do as well.
And wouldn't that be something? Like that would totally change the dynamic of that backfield. And certainly it would mean Ramondre Stevenson would be, if it's really Ramondre Stevenson and Ty Montgomery and JJ Taylor and the rookies they have, and they've got a surplus of running back. So I think that's something they wouldn't mind doing. Stevenson would be probably in the neighborhood of 30th to 40th overall in drafts. He would skyrocket like we haven't seen in a long time.
We got a comment from Rob about his own team. He said, Rob's team sucks.
Rob.
I mean, it kind of sucks,
Rob. It's a mock.
You're really good at running back. Like, you're really good. And you have Travis Kelce, but Rob went Kelce, Swift, Connor, Dobbins, and then he went with 5 wide receivers in a row. And maybe you can piece it together. It is a mock, and it was interesting to put him right next to Dave because Dave went with 4 wide receivers and then a tight end and a quarterback. He went 0 RB, and Rob basically went 0 wide receiver. Well, not quite, but he went with 4 non-wide receivers. And Dave, how do you feel about your team? How do you think it ended up at the 11 spot?
I'll tell you what, I kind of like it. But I've said all along this offseason that when I'm picking late in round 1, I don't mind going 0 RB. Or I didn't really say that. That's not fair. I said I don't mind taking 2 non-running backs with my first 2 picks. This is the first time that I've taken 6 straight non-running backs, and I kind of like it. I liked the idea that I can hunt and peck for running backs a little bit later on. Not that I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I am kind of excited about Devin Singletary. I took Mike Davis with my second to last pick. If for any reason J.K. Dobbins isn't ready week 1, Davis is the starting running back for the Ravens against the Jets. It's the exact type of running back that I would trot out there potentially in my lineup if I wasn't confident in Edwards-Helaire or Singletary at that point. So I kind of liked it. I had fun doing this.
Hey, I got to shout out somebody. Frank N. If you want to make a comment right now, I'll put your comment up. Question. He donated, I think, $240 tonight.
Wow.
So thank you very much to Frank N. Great stuff, man. Really appreciate it. Also, not on the stream, Dan Schneier chatting it up with everybody. Zach Brooke chatting it up with everybody. It's a big part of what we do. Thank you guys for doing that. This was really fun and very quick. Appreciate it. So I'll wrap it up and I'll let everybody go. Unless y'all have any final, Terry, have any final thoughts here?
No, the only thing I did want to say is I agree with Dave that I think that Belichick quote was a little bit misleading. Not necessarily that the pass catching is going to be put aggressively on Ramondre Stevenson and Damien Harris. But I do think that a lot of the pass catching opportunity is going to fall a little bit more on Ramondre Stevenson. So that's why I'm a little bit higher on him. But I did want to say that if for some reason they do end up kind of splitting drives and having Damien Harris carry the load 3 downs on all the way down on one drive and then kind of reverse it out and switch to another running back, we've seen the Packers utilize that pretty successfully. And as long as they're integrated well into the pass game, and I know we saw the loss of Tyquan Thornton and they're not extremely strong there at receiver, I think there could be a little bit more upside than we're realizing, even with Ty Montgomery there. So I do like these Patriots backs a little bit more than maybe I should, but yeah.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to clarify. If it's just the two of them and they're switching drives, that'd be one thing. But what I guess I meant was what they did in the preseason game where it was all 3 of them each getting a drive. That I think would suck.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't know. Ty Montgomery probably doesn't deserve.
There's no way you can go wrong with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge.
All right. I think that Ben, thank you for coming on, man.
Appreciate it. Good to be back on with you guys. Had a lot of fun. Thanks for inviting me. Tara, Ramondre was one of my top running backs when you took him, so I wouldn't worry about that at all. I think that was a great pick.
Thanks to Thomas Schaefer for producing and for everybody for being here, donating. Please hit like before you leave. We'd really appreciate that. We've got live streams next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Monday is poker. Tuesday is a draft. Wednesday is the draft-a-thon. We'll tell you all about it throughout the rest of the week. There are also going to be more awesome things to bid on, more leagues to enter with us on our eBay page. So we'll have time to tell you about all those things. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll talk to you tomorrow on